Rain-X wipers are the #1 wiper blades in America. That means all kinds of drivers choose Rain-X. Big drivers in small cars choose Rain-X. Small drivers in big cars choose Rain-X. Drivers with long hair and short commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with short hair and long commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with pets on board, babies on board, and bored babies on board choose Rain-X. Basically, drivers who love a clear view of the road all choose Rain-X wipers, the #1 wiper blades in America.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana makes car selling fast and easy from start to finish. Enter your license plate or VIN and get a real offer in seconds, down to the penny. If you accept, Carvana will come pick up your car from your driveway. Or you can drop it off at one of our car vending machines. Either way, you get paid instantly. It's fast, transparent, and 100% online. Car selling that saves your time. That's Carvana.
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
You don't technically need this car. You say that out loud to yourself. You say, I have no space. You say, I'm just looking. Then you click. Then you zoom in on photo number 87 and whisper, oh no. Then you text a friend, the one who always enables you. You say to yourself, this is the last one, knowing it is not. You don't need this car. But maybe, just maybe, this car needs you. Bring a trailer. It's never just a car.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to How Are the Podcast. It's Gav, and I'm back. Been away for a little while, and you join us on this glorious match day as Sunderland prepare to take on Everton at the stadium, like extending our unbeaten home record in the Premier League. Everton coming into the game in some tricky form. I think they've won 1 in 7 with David Moyes at the helm. The return of David Moyes to Wearside. It's a shame it's not Halloween because it would have made probably more sense. And also the return of Jordan Pickford for the first time to Sunderland. So there is lots and lots of different stories and branches and places we can go with this one. So I'm not particularly prepared. We're just going to chat about football, and I think that'll be nice. Joining me for the first time in a while, we've got Brett with us, Brett Lyon Davis. Hello, mate.
Hello, how you doing? You okay?
I'm very good, mate. We were just talking before there. It's been a while since you're on. You're going to be on the reaction after the game with Chris as well.
Yep.
You're turning into the new Johnny Hawley, aren't you?
That's exactly it. Yeah, you can't get enough from me at the moment. So it'll probably be like, I'll be on for a couple of days and then I'll be gone again. So yeah, but it's nice to be back on. Nice talking to you guys.
Yes, absolutely. And also with us is the ever-present Andrew Smithson. Hello, mate.
Hello, Gav. Yeah, nice to have you back on, and nice to finally be back at match day. It seems extra long, these extra couple of days since we beat Chelsea, so I am just pleased we've actually got a match now to get ready for.
I'm loving the Premier League, but I'm not loving how long you have to wait to play. It's like you have 2 games, and bear in mind we're used to playing like 3 times a week. So in the Championship and in League One, you know. And by the way, I do not want to go back there, but this is one of the good things about being in those leagues is that you have so much football. Whereas we seem to just play once and then don't have a game for a fortnight, or the home games seem to be pretty harshly spread out. Although this week we do have 2 home games in the matter of 5 days, so I'm not going to complain too much. But yeah, it feels like ages, doesn't it, Brett, since we last had a game? I mean, you were at Chelsea, weren't you? You were pictured in the weekend going your ends. So you've obviously been to a game before me and Andrew have recently, but feels like forever, doesn't it?
It has, but it has allowed me just to enjoy that Chelsea game for that extra little bit of time. I swear that was one of the best, if not best ever away day I've ever had.
And typically I didn't watch the game live. I got married. Obviously, some people might have heard Chris congratulating us on that last week, but we were we were doing the best man speeches as the second goal went in, and the place went absolutely mental because obviously being a room full of Sunderland fans, people had it on their phones on the tables and stuff. So, but last time I was at a wedding and Sunderland played, we won 5-0 against Southampton. So I think my mates just need to keep getting married. If we get married, if we have someone gets married every single week, we'll win the league, I think.
Well, to be fair though, we're doing quite a good job of it at the moment anyway. So it's even without people getting married.
Yeah, it was a great performance last time at Andrew. We'll not go over old ground because we've obviously chatted quite a lot about Chelsea, but there is momentum coming out of that game because after Chelsea, we got all the plaudits, all the pundits talking about how much we deserved the win. Everybody this week chatting about, us Sunderland the surprise package in the Premier League. You look at the table, we're 7th as it stands, and that's because we haven't played. So the worst that can happen is we might drop to 8th if we get battered, but that's some going, right? And if we win, we'll go above Man City in second place. We'll be, 5 points behind Arsenal going into that game next weekend? It's just crazy, isn't it? But the momentum that we've gained from beating Chelsea, we have to sort of somehow put that into this performance, don't we? We have to make sure that when it comes to this game, we carry on that great feeling that we've sort of built up over recent months.
Exactly. When everybody's high, you just want to keep that going, particularly against a team in Everton who perhaps are coming into the game feeling a bit more downbeat. I had to laugh there, Gav, when you said about the best man was giving his speech when we scored. The poor lad probably thought he was absolutely killing it. The whole room were like laughing and jumping and celebrating. It was nothing to do with his stories.
So someone must have given some indication from the back of the room that we'd scored because he just went, "It's 2-1, get in!" He just totally lost his train of thought.
Fair play. But yeah, there is a bit of momentum going into this. And I think what's different now compared to previous games is neutrals are starting to see it. Like you say, Gav, there's a lot of people in the press are talking us up now. I listened back to BBC Sounds. It had the Sunderland v Chelsea game was like the main Saturday match on 5 Live. Steve Sidwell was the analyst, and he was just full of praise for Sunderland. Even before we'd gone ahead at the halftime interval, he was talking about how well we'd set up and how we'd done. So yeah, people are starting to take notice, and why not? Why not make the most of that and take that positive feeling into the game against Everton?
Yeah, I'm really optimistic, Brett. I don't know about you, but and to be fair, I'm always optimistic. I'm always glass half full. I know I get a tag on here from the likes of Johnny Hawley and Chris, but I am generally quite an optimistic Sunderland fan. But it's hard not to be. Like I've got so much belief in this team going into home games. Even if we don't win the game tonight, I still think we'll give a good account of ourselves. I still think you're going to see a Sunderland team that gives 110%. And I've watched quite a lot of the Premier League this weekend, watching Match of the Day and the other games that have been on Sunday and what have you. And there aren't many teams in this league who've got our belief. I'm watching Liverpool, who've just came off the back of a really rotten run of results, the champions from last season. And I'm like, they're struggling. They haven't got the belief we've got. They might have quality players, but the Sunderland have just got this. And it might just be the good feeling carrying on out of last season through this one. But the bubble hasn't burst yet. And we've got to keep riding that wave. We've got to keep that good feeling going. And there's a reason we're coming into this one. And we are also optimistic because it's earned. It's November now. You know what I mean? Sunderland could be second in the Premier League in November. That is earned. That's not, they've had an easy start. Like some people might have liked to point out. By the way, that's going to calm down a bit, given the Mags have just been stuffed by West Ham after telling us that we'd had an easy start. I just want to get that in there. But it's right, isn't it? You know what I mean? We've completely earned the right to sit here and say we should beat Everton tonight. Now, if we do, then brilliant. If we don't, I'm sure we'll all be disappointed, but we'll still only be as low as 7th or 8th. So we've got to keep that good feeling going, yes, but it's an earned position.
We have every right at the moment to be, let's say, optimistic, be smug about where we are. Any time you sort of speak about people at the start of the season, they always say, ignore the table. It's after 10 games, that's when it kind of sorts itself out. And if you look at the table, so like right now, you've got obviously the people at the top who you expect to be there. There's Arsenal, there's City, obviously Bournemouth are the one that people probably wouldn't have predicted. But then obviously you then got like your Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea sort of thing. So the table at the moment is how it really should be. But you're right though, we have to be optimistic about it. At the start of the season, I think when you say about the optimism, like for yourself, Gav, I'm putting your side of the spectrum. If you look at my predictors each week, I was the only person who had us down to beat Chelsea 2-1 last weekend. I thought I'll get that one in straight away. But you'd think Everton at home for us, even at the start of the season, is a game that...
Sorry, I'm going to cut over you. As you said that, I've just read that you've tweeted us in reply, me asking people, you got any questions for us for the pod today? Brett, who's in the lead for this season's predictor table? You've been desperate to get that one in.
I think it took about 8 minutes before I mentioned it. But to be fair, I was bottom last season until literally the playoff final, which I got correct and they came from the bottom. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But yeah, I'm smashing it this season. But because I am just so optimistic. But no, maybe I say we're playing good football. And even when you said, like, is it just a carryover from last season? The fact that we've got 14 new players in, we've all got on board with it and have still like joined in with that, that optimism and the feel good factor. I think it's you saw it the other day when they were doing the videos on the club sort of promoted them doing the scare videos, and they was out this weekend doing like mini golf or something, or they was out, weren't they, a bit of team bonding. These are a bunch of lads at the moment who are just completely loving life. Obviously, they've got a great crack with each other. And that's only a good thing. That helps this whole team at the moment. So, yeah, we're 100%, we should be optimistic with it. And, long may it continue.
I mentioned at the top, Andrew, return of David Moyes, return of Jordan Pickford. How much does that matter, really? I mean, I'm desperate for us to make David Moyes' night as miserable as possible, but in the right way, Might get a little boozy walks out. But then it's all about the team, isn't it? And maybe after the game, if we do win, we can be a little bit smug.
Yeah, it's hard to boo a manager because he's never going to be in possession.
He's never going to come out and wave to us, is he?
Yeah. So
it's not like Old Trafford where they've got to walk past you. He can hide if he wants, like he hid when he was here last time.
Well, yeah. So he might get away with it. I mean, it is an interesting factor about the game. I could have a long chat with you about all the various reasons why I am not keen on him as a person, never mind as a football manager. But, we can afford we can afford not to worry about that period anymore because this is a completely different club now. The mood around games is fantastic. And I just hope that he has a little look round the ground, takes in the atmosphere and thinks, do you know what? I could have had all of this and I had a massive part in it, in cocking it all up. That'll do for me. If he comes away from here thinking, do you know what? I missed a chance to be a really big club. That'll do for me. And Pickford, listen, Pickford, he'll get a big round of applause. I've got a lot of time for him. Now's not the time, though, to be giving him some sort of Jordan Pickford tribute. We want to see him picking the ball out of the net at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched that interview with Sky this week, Brett, that Jordan Pickford did, but he was asked about his time at the club, and he spent a good 5 minutes chatting about Sunderland, and even like talking about when he attended the Coventry game in the semi-final of the playoffs, and he took his son for the first time. He's still a massive Sunderland fan. He still loves the club. It's going to be tough for him, I think, because when you see the way that he's performed over the years against Newcastle, he gets too emotionally involved and he kind of throws himself off his natural game when he plays against the Mags. Mind, I've got caveat that there have been occasions when he's played very well against Newcastle, but there've been many occasions where their fans have got in his head a bit, and I'm really curious to see how he handles this occasion, because he's as big a Sunderland fan as we are. I know that's his job. He's playing for Everton for 90 minutes. It's his job to keep the ball out the net and be an Everton player. But like I say, you can't ignore that he has struggled at times through his career with that emotional disconnect between it's my job to just be a goalkeeper today, and that's Newcastle. It should just be any team. When he plays against Newcastle, he completely loses his head at times, and I don't know. I'm just curious to see how he handles this one.
It's interesting how he's going to do it, because you're right. He's a really emotional guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and as you say, against he has. I think in recent years he seems to have got a bit of it better against the Mags, and he's got one over him a few times. But especially early in his career when he was at Everton, he just lost the plot. He just got completely tied up in trying to wind them up, and so it's But no, I agree with exactly what Andrew said though. Like, for both him and for Moyes, I want our fans to be back in Sunderland for 90 minutes tomorrow. We've seen it so many times that our crowd does make a big difference when everyone's on, and like they are now anyway this season. Telling the last season, when everyone's on board, we are that 12th man. So it's give always been a bit of a stick at the start, like before kick off. Give him a bit at the end when we're shouting, Moisey, what's the score? When we've won 4-0, happy days. But when that game's going on, just 100% get behind the lads, because that's what we're here for.
What do you think, Andrew, about Everton when you look at their form? Because lost 3-0 against Tottenham, and as we heard on the opposition preview that Chris did with Paddy Boylan from The Athletic, he'd said really, Everton actually played really well, and the scoreline was a little bit harsh on them. They lost 2-0 to Man City, which is, by the by, for most mid-table teams. Before that, they ended Crystal Palace's unbeaten run. But that's 1 win in 7. They've struggled away from home this season. They've only taken a win from Wolves, who are obviously propping the rest of the table up. But then you look at it, Moyes went back in there. He did stabilise them. They had a decent summer. I wouldn't say a great summer, but the signing of Jack Grealish is probably up there as one of the best signings made by any club in the Premier League. And I would put it alongside the signing of Granit Xhaka in terms of impact. He's a fantastic player, as we all know. But Everton are such a strange club to me because they underachieve year on year on year, and I'm not sure how to take them, because like any team at this level, they've got quality. I mentioned Pickford before. Pickford's a great player, At the back, on the day, Tarkowski and Keane are solid. In midfield, Idrissa Gueye might be old now, but still a decent player. Dewsbury Hall's a good player. Iliman and Dye is probably their best player, really. When we're I know Grealish is fantastic, but Iliman and Dye is their biggest goal threat. They did spend a bit of money in the summer on a striker. I think it's Tierno Barry. I think they got him from Villarreal. Hasn't really hit the ground running yet. Signed Tyler Diblin from Southampton. So, what do you make of Everton, given they've got quality, but it's not really happening for them at the minute?
There's just something about Everton. They just seem like a bit of a stodgy team. There's some canny players there, but not too many standouts. That podcast you mentioned that Chris had with the representative from The Athletic, I was actually surprised to learn that Everton's defeats had only really been against the stronger sides. In my mind, I thought Everton had got off to a fairly poor start. One thing he said that was interesting was apparently against Leeds, that was a Monday night game, I believe. Apparently Everton wilted in the atmosphere. So again, that might go back to, well, let's just ignore Moyes for the time being. Let's just park that and just properly get behind the team and really make it like a proper cauldron. Hopefully that'll cause Everton to wobble. But yeah, I don't know. They just seem a bit meh as a squad.
Yeah,
I can't even explain that. And you went through their stronger players and what have you. I don't think they've got anyone who can be relied upon to score them enough goals to push them up the table. I think that's their biggest issue is consistency. That was another thing that was mentioned in the pod. There's been games where Everton have dominated and haven't been able to capitalise. And I think that is just music to our ears, because we are more than happy to let a team have the ball for long periods. If they're not going to do anything with it, we'll just take it off them, thank you very much, and go and score. you know.
Yeah.
Easy as that, Gav. Easy. Piece of cake.
There's the tactics for tonight. Yeah, Brett, just on the back of that, another thing I picked out of that podcast that Chris did with Paddy was when he mentioned that, regardless of who Everton play, they're not going to sit in. They're not going to sit in and try and defend on the edge of the box. They'll probably play with quite a high line. I'm looking at the back four they've got. I think the left back's fairly interchangeable. Mikolenko played the last game against Tottenham. I mentioned Keane and Tarkowski as the two centre-halves, but then they've got Jake O'Brien, who's a centre-half, an out-and-out centre-half playing right-back, who doesn't do very well getting forward. It's like playing probably Dan Ballard there, you know what I mean? When they've got Seamus Coleman, who's older now, but still a right-back out-and-out on the bench. And I think David Moyes was even asked about that in his press conference, and he kind of played it down and said O'Brien will play in this game. It interests me that that's the tactic to do that. And we'll get into Sunderland in a second, so I don't want to cover off what we would do to expose that too much. But if a team comes and plays a high line with effectively three centre-halves, you've got to try and expose that with your pace, haven't you?
Yeah.
How do you see this in terms of Sunderland and Everton as a matchup stylistically, given they're not, as Andrew said, they're not, it's not as if that team's littered with quality footballers apart from probably Ndiaye and Grealish. If you can stop them two, it almost feels as though you can stop Everton altogether.
I do feel like that. I think they're like a very workman-like sort of side. You're going to get, a team that's going to give. I think they'll give 100% against us, but individually, as you literally what you just said, I took the words out of my mouth. Like you stop Grealish because he's looking at the assists. He had 4 assists in 8 games, and then after that, the next person's only got. There's a couple of 1. So they do seem to struggle to score goals. One thing for me about like Everton and sort of just going to what Andrew was just saying there, at the start of the season, when you're kind of like picking where we're going to get our points for the season, where literally to try and keep us up, Everton at home for me would be one of them games where I think we need to, we should be getting 3 points off there. I know that when we was back at Goodison, they spanked us a couple of times, but at the start of the season, I'd 100% this is for us we have to win these games. We have to win. And that obviously doesn't change my mindset. Where we are now, I think we should be winning this game.
Yeah, right. We'll come back after the break and we'll chat about Sunderland's game plan, I think, and where we might try and hurt them.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. New players, new games, new rules. Squid Game, The Challenge returns for a gripping second season. 456 contestants from all walks of life, competing in the ultimate test of strategy, alliances, and endurance. For a life-changing prize of $4.56 million. With stakes this high, why make friends when you can make millions? Watch Squid Game, The Challenge Season 2, only on Netflix November 4th.
Hey there, it's Dr. Sanjay Gupta with some exciting news to share. CNN is now streaming. That means you can read, watch, and stream everything in one subscription. You can watch news live 24/7. You can also explore catch-up videos and explainer videos, and you can also watch the library of CNN's originals, including my latest documentary, It Doesn't Have to Hurt. Just go to cnn.com/all access.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs, but luckily there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Welcome back to How We're the Podcast, now a preview for this lovely match day. Sunderland against Everton tonight, live on Sky Sports and live from the Stadium of Light, of course. Me and Andrew will be in attendance for this one. Unfortunately, you, Brett, won't. But you, like I said, will be on the reaction later on today with Chris. I said before the break, we'll chat a little bit about what Sunderland might do. I mentioned, Andrew, about Grealish and Ndiaye and stopping them. This is where our team selection gets very, very interesting, I think, because I've said this a few times this season, but I think I mean this more than I've ever meant it. I do not envy Régis Le Bris when it comes to picking the team, because I haven't got a clue. who the hell do you put? Is it a case you just look at the fact that Ndiaye and Grealish are the wingers and clearly their best two players, and you pick who you think might be best to deal with them, as opposed to looking at the last game because we played a back five and going, well, that worked, so we should do that again, you know? And then you've got the whole headache of, should he put Alderete back in, who's done nothing wrong and only missed the last game through concussion? Does he come back in? If so, who drops? Geertruida had a fantastic game, had his part in the winner. Oh my God, what does he do? I haven't got a clue.
Well, he actually joked, didn't he? I think it was Nick Barnes asked the question in the press conference. He said, have you got your plans sorted? And he kind of said, I've got no idea at the moment. Obviously, he was speaking tongue-in-cheek, but then I thought, well, what chance have we got between us three to come up with a team? I think the back five against Chelsea obviously worked. I mean, that's just a statement of fact because we went and beat them. But I don't think that is a structure he's going to go to too often. I think that will only be brought out in certain situations. Mm-hmm. So I do think he goes to a 4. Who makes up that 4? I don't know. I mean, I've jotted down like a starting 11 that I think he'll go for. And even just doing that on a piece of scrap paper, you feel shan. You feel absolutely.
I know exactly what you mean.
Like, I'm like, hey, God, I hope they don't see us right in this because there's gonna be some really good players missing out who have done nothing wrong.
They're going to be blaming you, Andrew, when the teams get stuck up.
Yeah. I'm just pleased my handwriting's awful, so they might not be able to work out what I'm trying to say.
Just rub it out. Just rub it out, and nobody will know.
Yeah. So it is really tough to work out what to do for the best. You've just got to hope that when he does name his defence, and as well, the players will know because they will have been working on it in training and what have you. There's not going to be somebody shocked when the team list goes up and be like, oh, bloody hell, I didn't think I was going to play. They'll all have their jobs. They'll all know what's expected of them. You've just got to hope that they take that attitude of, well, I've been given the chance today. I'm going to absolutely work my socks off and make sure that I'm undroppable and hope that that's enough to keep you in the side.
I don't know about you, Brett, but I just think it's a case of, just as the case was for the Chelsea game, he has to pick the team based on the opponent. I mentioned it before, you've got to stop them wingers to stop Everton, basically. I think to me that means going to a back 4 and having wingers who are going to work back hard and work defensively. And we'll kind of get into the minutiae of who we think he'll pick. But would you agree, it's right to move to a back 4 for this one?
100%. I think, the back 5 were obviously brilliant last week. And I actually think obviously we've got Arsenal next. Had the Everton and Arsenal games been swapped round, we'd still stick with the back 5. But yeah, this is definitely one he's going to be going with a 4. But it's who the hell do you? I was literally just echoing what you both have just said. Like, who the hell would you drop out? I've done the exact same thing. I was trying to do my 11 for today, and my handwriting's just as bad as yours, Andrew. But also the amount of times I've had to cross that name out, oh God, I forgot about him. No one deserves to be dropped in this team. It's so unfair for them. But yeah, that's why Reggie's the man who does it. But yeah, as you said, though, I think he's every team we're going to play against this season. He'll be playing for that. I don't think we're ever going to probably play the same 11 2 games running this season because I think he will just little things will just move around.
I think that's an excellent point about if the 2 home games had been switched round, Brett, you might see a 5 against Arsenal. But we've got to remember, we've already said it ourselves in this chat, this game is one that you expect Sunderland to be gunning for all 3 points. Mm-hmm. So it won't just be in his thoughts what's the best way to neutralise Everton. His main factor in his decisions will be what's the best way to hurt them. Mm-hmm. And it probably is going for at the back in this instance with wingers. So, I fully understand that we need to be wary of Everton, but I don't think he's going to be having the team petrified of them. They'll be going out still thinking, we're expected to win this one.
I'm honestly expecting some harsh decisions. If I'm honest, I've got a feeling, and I've been pretty spot on at times this season with me predictions of team selections. So, I might be right. We'll find out as the teams come out, I suppose. But I've got a feeling Trey Hume might not play. I think
I done the same.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that it'll be Nordy playing right back to deal with Grealish. I've got no problem with Ronaldo playing left back. So I think they're going to be the full backs. It's the centre defence where I'm not sure. I mean, Ballard has got to play. If Everton are going to score goals, it's going to be probably from set pieces because they've got a couple of big lads at the back. We need Ballard on the pitch to deal with that. We also need him at the other end to help us score goals. In the way he defends as well, when I talk about them two wingers, they're going to be cutting inside and looking for gaps. You need people who are going to chuck themselves in the way to do that. I wonder, is it too soon for Alderete? Because I think he only came back into training on Thursday, which was, quite a while ago, but still, might they look at that? And I don't know how severe the concussion was. Could that keep him out? Potentially. So I'm thinking it's going to be, obviously, Roofs in goal, Ronaldo left back, Nordy Mukiele right back, and then a central defence pairing of Geertruida and Ballard, maybe. I would like to see Alderete play, but I just wonder if it might just be a bit harsh to drop Geertruida.
I went for Alderete to start. I must admit, though, cutting Trey Hume was one of the hardest things I've done in my life. I felt like I told my kids. I felt like I told my kids you can't have any dessert. It's just like, he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve to be dropped.
No. But I think we can all kind of see the logic in it, right?
Yeah.
And Régis Le Bris doesn't mess around, does he? He's quite happy to drop people if he thinks it's for the best. I just worry about Grealish against Hume, if I'm honest. I think he's too experienced, and you need somebody who's... I think if Jack Grealish is going to have a tough time, it's going to have to be against someone who can match his in the brain. You know what I mean? I think Nordy's very, very intelligent as a defender, and also physically he's got the edge. And I think as well, Nordy getting forward will push Grealish back. So that's what I'm thinking anyways. But let's see what he does. The midfield then becomes a little bit more interesting, Brett, because if you consider what I said before about cutting off the supply from out wide, I think that means we've got to play two wingers who are going to work hard. And unfortunately, I think Simon Adingra maybe showed at Man United that side of his game needs work, perhaps. I don't see him coming in for this one. Talby obviously earned his chance to start a game, I think, with that goal at Chelsea. And I would like to see Talby play, but I've got a feeling he will play on the right and it'll be Enzo on the left. What did you have written down?
So Talby's one I was really questioning on, because again, I thought if it's the Arsenal game, I don't think he would have started, I think, but for this one, he will. I've actually kept Traoré on the wing. So I've got Talby and Traoré in the wings, and then I had Lefay behind, in the middle. But, then listen to what you're saying now, I'm thinking, I could probably do have actually...
I'm not trying to talk you out of it. You tell me what you think.
I was then thinking, do you know what, Lefay gets stuck in though, and he will track back. But I'm thinking, well, actually, Andrew's right though, because we're going to win this game. So I'm going to keep Lefay in the middle. I'll keep him behind I'll have like a 4-5-1 for me, and Lefay stays in the middle.
I don't hate that. I think that's fine. If that's what we go with, I'm absolutely fine with that, because Talby will work hard defensively. Traoré, to be fair to him, does work hard defensively. What did you have written down, Andrew, for your sort of attacking midfield?
I'm a bit annoyed, Gav, because so far my team matches up with yours and it just looks like I'm crawling and trying to suck up here. I would have Lefay and Talby playing because they cover a lot of ground. They get up the pitch quickly so they can do a bit of everything. I went as well with... I can't even bring myself to say it. Dropping Hume. It might not even be what I would do. It's what I think Le Bris will end up doing. I think Mukiele has a really big role to play against Everton this evening. But yeah, I would have those two on the wing. And again, if other players are sat there thinking, well, that's not right, I deserve my chance, well, show it in training, or show it if you get brought, if you get some minutes towards the end of the game. Let's see it. Let's, hammer home your point to the coaches that you deserve a spot as well. And listen, I've said this type of thing before. Brett might have different opinions to us, but again, you can see exactly where he's coming from. And at no point are we saying, oh, that's a crap idea, he's rubbish. All of these disagreements, they're all from the same point of like, he's a good player, can we get the best out of him? It's so nice to be having the conversation from that angle instead of, oh man, Gav, what you're talking about, you can't give him a game, he's crap. There's none of that in any of these conversations. It's picking from excellent players who all have their own strengths, and it's just working out how to hone it for this individual game. Nice. It's nice position to be in.
It is. They're very picky with when they start Chris Rigg, and he seems to be fancied in home games. So I've got a feeling it'll be Enzo on the left, Tolby on the right, which I actually want to see Tolby on the left, but, I don't think we're going to maybe see it in this game, just because structurally, the way things are, I've just got a feeling it'll be him on the right. But I think we'll get Shaka Siddiqui Rigg as the midfield three, with Rigg in the 10, and Andrew's laughing because that's exactly what he's got written down, isn't it, Andrew?
Yeah.
With Wilson Isidore, of course, leading the line. I don't think anyone would be dropping Wilson Isidore at the minute, given how brilliant he's been since he came to the team, really. So, yeah, that would be my team. I think I say it would be my team. That's the team I think the manager will play. But I mean, I couldn't definitively say, Brett, that's going to be the team.
You can't.
There's just so much choice. I mean, the only ones that I don't think will play, like I think Dan Neil, the reason he didn't play in the 21s game during the week was because he's also under concussion protocol. So he's missed training and stuff. So Dan Neil, you might have been able to sit and make a case for playing him, but no, I don't think he'll play or even be in the reckoning to play. In that 21s game, Brian Brobby started and scored, which is great. But I think you could see from the way that he kind of just fell to his knees sort of when we scored at Chelsea. Fitness is an issue with him. He's going to have to get his minutes in and prove himself from the bench. But he did just that at Chelsea, so he's going to get more opportunities. Mayenda played in that game. Luke O'Nien played in that game. So they are getting minutes, but they're probably not in contention to start right now. But I mean, the depth of our squad, Brett's ridiculous. I can't get over it. You're talking about like quality players like Getroida not playing or Alderete not playing, or just whoever. We've got so much quality to pick from. I just don't envy the manager one little bit.
It's so refreshing. You think back 3 years ago, and just the crap we had.
Do I have to?
No, don't. No, let's just think about now because it's amazing. But yeah, it's so good, and that's obviously the recruitment this summer just it keeps highlighting. Every single position there is quality now across this team, and you lose a couple of players. There's just as good of players coming in, with our record signings nowhere to be seen at the moment. So, it's great. You say the back 4 or 5, there's probably about 6 or 7 quality players, plus that can play in defence. But your midfield, it's all interchangeable. So it's just so good at the moment. During the match, subs get made. It's not like as a downgrade. This player's coming on is going to be absolutely brilliant. So. Yeah, what a great place to be for us at the moment.
Yeah. But on top of that, Andrew, the manager has thrown a few wild cards in. I mean, nobody's seen the back 5 coming, I don't think, last week. Maresca didn't. He admitted as much after the game, didn't he? Kind of basically said, been preparing for Sunderland and they've never once started with a back 5, then they do it. At Man United, he went with Adingra and Traore on the wings. It didn't work. But, it was surprising. Do you see him? Maybe are there any surprises he might spring? Could Adingra start? Could Could we go with, Mayenda up on the wing or playing in a 2, going 4-4-2? Like, can you see any of that happening or not?
It is always possible because, he likes to throw a curveball in every now and again. I'm not sure if the Everton game's the right time to be testing something out. The under-21s match you're talking about, I was able to go. In the end, I had to leave at half-time because of something else kicked off. But I think he was trying to get Mayenda playing as part of a 2 with Broby up front. So, that might be something he's got in the back of his mind that he wants to introduce going forward.
Well, sorry to cut over you, Andrew, but actually, now I think about it, when I mentioned before about what Paddy said on the opposition preview about them playing with a high line, those, Isidore and Mayenda against the high line, it could work, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you've described Keane and Tarkowski as solid defenders, and they are. They know the Premier League, they've been around the block and all of that, but they're not pacey, are they?
No.
They are big physical blokes. So I wouldn't mind seeing somebody absolutely tearing past them. It's plausible. I don't know. I do think we'll just for now we'll stick with this 4-3-3 because as well we say 4-3-3. It's not 4-3-3 because it changes all the time in games.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll do that. Certainly not from the start, anyway. But it might be something he's got in his back pocket, Gav, for later on in the game. He might think, right, well, we're going to really go for them now, and particularly against tired legs. Get a couple of pacey lads on up front and let's get into them,
it is. It's great being this unpredictable. We're Sunderland fans who are obsessed to the point we talk about it every day on a podcast and write about it, right? So, they don't get much more obsessed about the club than us. And we haven't got a clue. So David Moyes hasn't got a clue. The manager of bloody Chelsea admitted he didn't have a clue. And that's a real strength of ours, that we are so unpredictable. Everton cannot second guess Régis Le Bris. He's got too much in terms of options there available to him. And he's a very wily character. He knows that that's an advantage. He won't think twice about throwing in, putting Mayenda up with his own going 4-4-2. He did it last year against Sheffield United, if you remember, on New Year's Day, when we hadn't played up front at all. And then we had a front 2 of his own Mayenda, and it just worked. And Sheffield United didn't have an answer to it. So he's done this in the past. I feel like I'm talking myself into that happening, you know what I mean? But it's great, isn't it? The point I'm making is it is great that we are so unpredictable. David Moyes will not have a clue what we're going to do.
Gav, you often hear this about teams that get promoted. They start really well and then they, quote, get found out.
Yeah.
But you're right. You can't. What is there to find out about Sunderland? There's no, certainly in defensive, from the defensive side, we're just well drilled and we work hard and everybody knows their jobs and they're very good players at the back. So that's not some sort of like magic formula. You can't negate that.
Yeah, and the one time we were predictable was when Masuaku had to play left back and Man United saw it coming and they doubled up on him. Whereas now, you're right, there's no obvious weakness in that defence, and the players who might come in are all good players.
Yeah. So, you're right. But the flip side of it is it's also very difficult to find a team out when they have all these different variations they can try. It's not like what you've said in that you nullify Grealish and that's the team done. It is hard to come up with a plan for us at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the thought of David Moyes' whole weekend being ruined by trying to work out what this team's going to be. Like, he's very sad. He had his Sunday dinner yesterday and his missus goes, "What's the matter?" "I don't know what Reggie's going to do."
Hopefully we'll ruin his Monday as well. That'll be even better. And his Tuesday and his Wednesday until they play again. Let's sort of step forward then. So we've obviously decided we don't know what's going to happen. I think this is just a theme of these previews, really. we sit here every week and chat for 15, 20 minutes about team selection. And by the end of it, none of us have got any idea what's going to happen. But it's nice to talk about it, isn't it? But the part that's probably a little bit easier to predict is the way the game's going to flow and what we think will happen. I mentioned before, Brett, we've been fantastic at home. We just have. Like, I cannot fault the team. The one game where we were under the cosh was when Ronaldo got sent off against Villa, and it was probably one of the best performances of the season when you consider we got a draw from the game with 10 men. We were on top for large periods of that game. So we've seen this team undergo stress and come out the other side. Everton might surprise us. They might well hit us early. I've mentioned the quality that they've got, and Dye and Grealish are good players. If we're not careful, they'll expose us. They'll find ways to score goals. And we've seen it before when the team comes to the Stadium of Light, they get an early goal, they sit back to make it difficult for us to break them down. That's, to me, the worst case scenario, is that we allow Everton an early goal. But I almost think that we've kind of developed this blueprint for how home games go, where Sunderland just start really fast and the crowd are involved and it makes it difficult. And Andrew mentioned before about when Everton played Leeds, and I remember that game, to be fair, the crowd were fantastic at Ellen Road. They really played their part. And I know Leeds, they ended up winning from a penalty, didn't they? Was it in Metcha? I think scored the penalty for them. But still, they won the game. The crowd played their part. That's been the theme of the season, hasn't it, Brett? Every game this season, the crowd have had a say in how the game goes. And I think this is going to be the same again. I'm hoping with David Moyes being the man on the sidelines, there's a bit of extra bite about it. Because people aren't going to have spent 3-4 hours in the pub for this one, I wouldn't have thought. People are going to be finishing work, and sometimes their midweekers can be a little bit flat. But we've got momentum, as I said before, and I think there's been a realisation amongst us as fans, we've got a part to play. And I'm just hoping it's the same. We start really quick, and we get at Everton, and we make them really nervous, and we make our home advantage count.
Oh, definitely. Well, you saw the clip the other day at the Chelsea game when we were literally cheering every single tackle. There's about 10 in a row. That you could see, I was Trey Hume, was it? Like the players, they're so lifted from that. And we have to play our part, and we are playing our part. It's, I know in the times where the Stadium Light, sometimes the atmosphere hasn't been the best, but it is getting ramped up now. The club are doing everything they can to get it ramped up. So, I'm massively confident for tomorrow. I don't think that we can.
Today, Brett, you're out of practice, mate.
Oh, God,
today. Yeah, it's only me and Andrew doing that. So, I'm glad someone else has done it.
A peek behind the curtain. So later on today, I can't see Everton score, and I think the crowd will really make a big difference for it. But as we saw yesterday, our friends down the road losing to West Ham, there is no easy games in the Premier League if you're not playing.
Well, there is. They told us that we had the easiest start ever. West Ham are shit. We were told all of these things. You're wrong.
If you don't play 100%, you get found out in this league. Thank you. I think our lads at the moment are playing 100% and more if it was possible.
Yeah. Are you confident, Andrew? Then are you? Do you think we're going to win?
Yes, I am. There has been a couple of times this week where I've thought, I've got a nasty feeling about this one. But then just every time I actually then think about it, we should be confident. The team have not done anything this season to let us down or failed to produce. Maybe the Burnley game, as I say that, but
that game we could have been 1-0 up after 3 minutes. When Mayenda misses that chance, and they've all been close games, haven't they?
Yes, you're right. I am confident though when you actually drill down and look at the facts, and we always joke about don't we about how typical Sunderland is changing. If you park that to one side and if you were to look at it objectively, we should be confident. And you've nicked all my points here, Gav. I honestly think it's going to be one where we get into them early doors and we did against Wolves. We started at a really phenomenal pace. I think we'll do that. We'll be really up for it. We'll try and get the game, if possible, won early-ish, because as well, we do have Arsenal coming up, and unfortunately, Arsenal are going to have an extra couple of days rest on us. I'm pretty sure they played Saturday afternoon, didn't they?
Yeah.
So it would be lovely to think that maybe, without getting ahead of myself, it would be lovely to think if maybe after 70 minutes or so, we're looking in a strong position and we can maybe rest one or two players, or just not ease off, but not be desperately chasing the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go on then, Brett. Give us what was your score prediction for the Predictor League? I'm presuming you're going to give the same one.
Yes,
right here, right now.
It was 2-0. And I think I've had 4 correct ones so far, score-wise. So,
come on, make it 5, eh? What about you, Andrew?
Well, I'm going to copy somebody else's points again. I'm going to say 2-0. I would.
Well, let's make it a hat trick. I'll say the same.
I would. It would be lovely, wouldn't it? And I hope we're all right. It would be lovely if it was just a nice, routine, stress-free win and another sign that we are home in the Premier League and we are comfortable in this division. That would be the perfect.
Also in second place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sets up a first v second next weekend.
That's the carrot that's dangling in front of the players.
Daft.
And I mean, we're making a laugh and a joke about it, but they want these players aren't here to battle against relegation. You'll see we can go second tomorrow, and that will be all the motivation that they need. Sorry, I've just done it. I've just said tomorrow. Tonight. They can see we can go second tonight, and they will be fully motivated to make sure that happens. And especially Granit Xhaka, he gets to play Arsenal on Saturday, his old team, and that could be first v second. So he's the captain of the team, and he knows the importance of winning games. And he knows the importance of going into that Arsenal game in a strong position. I don't think there's going to be any problem with our motivation. You're not going to be coming away and you're going to be going, we were a little bit off it today. We didn't have the same energy we've had in recent games. I just think we're going to go hell for leather. And look, if that's not good enough, when you do the reaction pod with Chris after the game, Brett, you'll be sat there going, well, we gave it our best, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most comforting thing this season. Doesn't matter what the game is, I've got so much confidence in the team to just go out there and give 100%. And as we saw at Man United when we went 2 down, they even had a mother's meeting on the pitch, didn't they, to sort it out. We've got so much character and belief. So fingers crossed we're all right. 2-0. That's what I'm going with. I'm going to follow you too. Why not? Let's round off with some quick fire questions. I did put a tweet up in case we had a little bit of time at the end of the show. I'm not going to read yours out again, Brett. We all know you're in the lead for this season's predictor table. These will be quick fire, by the way, so none of that. Whenever I used to do this with Chris and Martin, they would still manage to make an answer 10 minutes long. When I told them it has to be quick fire, they would take the piss out of us. I'll come to you first, Andrew. Paul Boo Scott, the Bouvant, on Twitter, he says, did we get lucky that Will Still turned us down? I don't know if you've seen the news tonight, Andrew, but apparently he's going to get sacked from Southampton.
I didn't see that news. I mean, I didn't even know the Mags had lost to West Ham. So that shows how out of touch I am with football.
That's the third time we've mentioned that tonight, by the way. This morning.
Yeah. So either yesterday, today, or tomorrow, Will Still might be losing his job. Well, on the face of it, yeah, we might have had a bit of a lucky escape. Was he always in the mix, or was it maybe paper talk? We don't know.
Yeah.
But Le Bris, we couldn't have asked for a better person to come in.
Correct. Andy Lynn, Brett, he says, is the Everton game a must-win to stay in the race for the title? A big 6-pointer the following weekend against Arsenal.
100%, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. We keep saying there's no such thing as a must-win, but I think in the context of what you said there, it's a must-win to stay in the title race.
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah.
But to be fair, Arsenal are in danger of running away with this league, so then they need some competition, and it might as well be us.
And what did I say? That would put us 5 points behind them. Yeah,
they're
so
on
5 points
25,
behind them. Yeah. So If we then go on and beat Arsenal, we'll be 2 points off them.
There we go. See, someone's got to do it.
Title chasing Sunderland. Was it Peter Drury said that on Sky last week? Yeah. Liam at SAFC 1879. Andrew, and this kind of feeds into the last one. He said, does a win against Everton alter your thinking? Instead of looking at relegation rivals, do we start looking at mid-table / top 10?
I hate to be cocky. I've not been looking at relegation for a while now. I've thought for a good while that we can be mid-table at the least.
I actually roll my eyes when people start talking about, West Ham have lost Wolves. I'm like, what you bothered about what they're up to for? We're nowhere near them. You know? Yeah. Jason Thompson, Brett, he says, genuine question, is anyone actually missing Job?
Do you know what? No. So I saw it. There was a thing the other day, like, obviously he wasn't doing very well out in Dortmund, and there's a chart, could he come back to Sunderland? He doesn't get in the team. He doesn't get into that midfield anymore. So loved him. Brilliant for us last season. Thank you very much for the money. It's helped invest in a lot into this season's players. But no, I don't miss him whatsoever.
Yeah, Adam at Fulwell, he says, will Granit Xhaka get a higher rating than Josh Cullen this week, Andrew?
Who's Josh
You're
Cullen?
not much of... Yeah, exactly. He plays for Burnley. Who's Josh Cullen? That's the best answer ever. That's going to get rubbed in our faces at some point. When the return game, Josh Cullen scores against us. Lad of Light, he says, Brett, do we start putting Mayenda on the right wing for a few minutes every game in preparation for AFCON? With Adingra, Talbi and Traore all missing, should we accept the fact that some players will need to plug the gaps with Enzo and Eliza playing on the flanks? Would you like to see Mayenda on the wing?
It's not a bad shout, to be honest. And I think there'll be times where he will go out there naturally anyway, without even, not even thinking ahead of AFCON. So, yeah, I think it's a natural thing for him to play out there if he's not going up front.
Yeah. Rai XCL, Andrew, he says, with Diarra coming back in December, do you think he will start, or will he play less of a role during the holiday period due to just returning? Will he be at AFCON, won't he? I would have thought.
I assumed he'd be going to that tournament. I'm not sure. I mean, that's quite a way down the line at the moment.
It is.
And hey, what a nice position to be in, where we don't need to be desperately counting down the days for players to be back.
Yeah. Our record
players,
signing, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. The players who are available are doing just fine, and we can afford to let Diarra just come back when he's good and ready.
Well, we've got another mention for the Mags getting beat off West Ham here, Brett. Tom Shaw says, considering the richest club in the world have just been humbled, how good was our result against West Ham?
It was always a great result, to be honest. It was always a great result. There's no easy teams in this league.
When have the Mags been humble? I don't. This is the problem. All of this 6 easy points and you're going to go down. They never learn their lesson to just keep quiet. So
there was a let me just find it. I'll bring it up quickly because it's been doing the rounds. There was a tweet from a page on obviously Twitter, on X, Magpie Media, and this is from just after we beat West Ham. Tweeted, SAFC fans have been far too loud on here in the last 24 hours. Well done, good result, but West Ham are abysmal. Reminder, NUFC finished 10th in their first year back after promotion, having spent just 35 million that summer. Let's see if they can do the same with nearly 200 million, eh? And then it got shared all over the place because they obviously lost today and he's deleted it. So there we go. It just says everything really, doesn't it? We've got this one from Steve Richards. I'll come to you, Andrew, on this one. He says, does being on Monday Night Football make up for waiting what seems like an international break length delay to see the lads go again?
Oh, no,
not for match going fans. I was just going to say.
Yeah, no, because I want to see them. I want to see them all the time, and that was, like you said earlier, one of the plus points about the championship.
Yeah,
I was surprised that we weren't on TV more often, but I think that's been addressed now. I think I've read that 2 or 3 games over December have been rescheduled so they can be broadcast. So everybody's getting on the old Sunderland bandwagon at the moment, aren't they? It's good times.
Elliot says this, Brett. He says, when can we officially get carried away? If we beat Everton? Considering Leeds, Burnley and Wolves all lost, he's just fed into what I said before. I'm not bothered about what they're doing.
Well, literally now, I'm already getting... I've said at the start, I've already got carried away. The match yesterday, so we'll say I completely ignored the West Ham Newcastle game and I was focused on the Man City game because that affects us. So 100% get carried away as of 2 weeks ago.
I'll stay with you for this one, Brett. Jarvis says, can we agree that it is not in our interest to be booing Moyes? It'll be a bad look on TV. Yes, he was shit, but our focus should be on supporting the lads 100%. It would only give them extra motivation, and as we saw with Alex Neil, it can backfire massively. That's a point I hadn't thought about. I forgot about us getting stuck into Neil, but what do you reckon?
Yeah, I said earlier that 100% that, to forget about him. He's completely irrelevant to us now. I'd much rather 100% back in for the lads on the pitch and literally at full time, hopefully we've won. We can then take the piss out of him then. But yeah, during the game, I'm not too bothered about being looking bad for TV though, but I'd say just, I'd rather sing for the lads. So
times have changed because back in the Roker Park days, he'd have had a mince pie off his head and he'd have gravy running down his back. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And we'll end off with this one, and this one's for you, Andrew. It's from Kelvin BT73. So I wonder who that could be. Our Kelvin, he says, what would the panel do? War Lass has been stuck in Jamaica courtesy of Hurricane Melissa, but I have heard she is due back tomorrow night. Do I go to the game on the supporters bus and have a beer, or do I go in the car and get back 30 minutes earlier? No pressure, Andrew, but he's asking for some relationship advice here.
Well, Kelvin obviously doesn't know me as well as he thinks he does if he's coming to me for a relationship advice. I'm looking forward to seeing Kelvin on Friday night. Me and him are meeting up and I want him to buy me a couple of pints. So I'm not going to say anything that is likely to upset him. I think I'm just going to back away from that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to back away from that one and let him sort out his own domestic problems.
I'll get off the fence, Kelvin. If it was me, I would just get on the bus and have a beer. She's still going to be there when you get home. Don't worry about it. Go on, Brett. What would you do?
100% get on the bus.
Yeah. There you go, Kelvin. There's your answer, mate. Well, it just leaves me to say thank you very much, chaps. It's been an absolute pleasure once again to chat about, and fingers crossed we are talking about Sunderland winning yet another game at home at the Stadium of Light. Let's see. You'll be back, like I've said repeatedly, Brett, with Chris on the reaction pod, so that will be out as quickly as we can get it out. I don't think we're going to record... Oh, no, I'm talking rubbish. We are recording after the game. My head's up my arse this week, lads.
In just a few hours' time, Gav.
Yeah. Well, I'm recording on Tuesday at some point with a new guest, Jason Jones from the Sunderland Echo. He's going to be joining us on the post-match debrief. It's not quite Sunday supplement, but it is our Tuesday supplement, I guess. So I'll be back with Jason Jones after the game. There is plenty that you can get stuck into when it comes to how the podcast. Has been lots and lots of preview stuff this week. We've mentioned a few times that great podcast with Paddy Boylan from The Athletic. There's also a look back at some past games between Sunderland and Everton at the Stadium Light and, of course, Roker Park, which people can catch. There was a great chat earlier in the week with Ian Murtagh. There's loads on the feed. So if you want to just basically sit and listen to podcasts back to back to back as you head into this game, then just do it because we've got you covered. Thank you very much, Andrew. It's been a pleasure, mate.
Yes, thank you very much, Gav. Loved speaking to both of you, and hopefully next time I'm hearing from Brett, he's talking to Chris about a nice 2-0 win.
Yeah, and we'll hear from you shortly, Brett. Thank you very much, mate.
We shall indeed. A pleasure as always.
Yeah, thank you to the listeners. We'll catch you on the reaction pod. We'll see you then.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.